happy kind of post-eclipse Wednesday, a post-solar eclipse Wednesday. I wonder if you all were able to catch the eclipse, see it. It got to about, it looked kind of halfway for us here in East Tennessee. But it was going on during our last day of our shopping bazaar. So, regardless if you saw the eclipse or if you stood out underneath it or whatever, and even though we couldn't see the fullness of the full ring of fire kind of phenomenon with the eclipse here, we indeed felt the energies, right? And I know that for me, that leading up to the eclipse, which it was a new moon as well. Yes, Donna, happy Samhain to you as well. It's coming. I know, like, what the heck? Samhain, Halloween is almost here this month. This whole time is flying by, right? Um, but leading up to the eclipse, I could feel all this stuff brewing, right? I could feel the energy um, getting ready to release with the eclipse. And we've seen things going on in the world that kind of also um, came about in an explosive way, which continues to happen right before the eclipse. And it's my feeling that with any kind of astrological and astronomical event or energy, there are always the aspects of light and shadow that are coexisting, that are happening simultaneously. And a lot of times it just might be where your vibration is. And I'm not saying good or bad, although we can interpret it as such, but kind of in that spectrum of light and shadow, where your energy is, or what's needing to kind of rise up, out of your energy, that we can have sometimes, chaotic or upsetting experiences with those astrological, astronomical events, or we can have something that's very expansive and elating, too. Sometimes we have a little sprinkle of both. But when people are having a hard time, or maybe we're just witnessing or experiencing a person or a group of people or whatever, having kind of more of that shadow element showing up, of course that still affects us, right? But first and foremost, we always are wanting and needing to focus on our own energy. We're wanting to focus on our bubble that not only surrounds us, but that energy that permeates our being. And we want to be in a state and an energy that is good and beneficial and positive, if that's what we want in our life. So when we are maybe witnessing things on the outside of that, and sometimes that stuff gets up very, very close to our bubble, right? I mean, like, it's like right there, so it feels like it is within our sphere of reality. It is helpful to always keep in mind and know that what you do have direct influence over and what you do have control of is your own energy. And so, meditating, breathing, being present in the moment, grounding, all of those kinds of things, which there are so many ways to do that. But those kinds of activities or endeavors are so important for keeping your energy where you want it. If it's kind of low, if you're really kind of in the shadows and you're like, that's not what I want to be feeling, or that's what I don't want to be drawing to me, then we want to raise our vibration, right? So keep that in mind as things, as the days go on and as the energies ebb and flow. And if you do end up feeling that you are in a state of overwhelm or sadness, or you're experiencing things that you don't feel that are in alignment with your higher path, your higher self, then do that maintenance and that work yourself, so that you can not only be in that experience in the moment, but then also kind of magnetize and attract the things that you do want. So you can probably tell I'm not at the store right now. I have this fantastic studio space that I've set up in the shop for doing filming like this. But I am at home right now. So my bird, my lovebird, that's Watermelon, and she's singing right now. You can probably hear the fish tank. I've got water bubbling, and then the dogs are excited that I'm sitting right here. So there's a little bit of background noise, and I apologize for that. But honestly, I just kind of had this. I just had this day. It was good. I got my hair trimmed and still like more browsing than shopping. But you know that, and went and visited my where my grandmother is buried and got some good dinner to bring home. And it was just this very kind of flowy day. And I got home, and then I was like, what day is it? And then I was like, oh gosh, I have to do a live at 7. And so I didn't, I kind of forgot for a little bit. And then I was like, okay, so I'm just going to stay home and, you know, finish eating my dinner, and then I'm going to get started on this. So I'm glad that, that I didn't forget. So, so welcome again to all of you here, of course. And as you know, or hopefully you know, when I do these lives, anyone who is watching the live is welcome to ask questions. Whether it's related to what we're talking about or just something kind of metaphysical, magical, energetic, you know, all of that, you're welcome to ask questions and kind of pick my brain on things too. I'm always happy to kind of share, you know, what I know, to try to help you along. So feel free to ask questions if they do come up. And if I'm right in the middle of saying something or whatever, you know, I'll catch your comments here as soon as I can. So anyway, I just kind of remembered to give a little bit of a housekeeping reminder about that. But kind of getting back to the energies, which of course energy update, right? So, you know, we talked about how we made it through one eclipse, the solar eclipse, and we do have another eclipse coming, and that is at the end of the month on the 28th. And it is when we will be having our full moon, and it will be a lunar eclipse. And so the lunar eclipse, of course, happens at night. I'm not 100% sure as far as how much visibility we will have here. I believe that it won't be a full eclipse here visible as well, just like the solar eclipse. But as you know, even regardless of what you're seeing happen with your eyes, that you are still experiencing the energies of what an eclipse embodies. You know, the little talk that I just gave you about kind of light and shadow, and about, you know, the same thing happening, the same energies happening, and how we can experience that in more of a negative light or a positive light, you know, something that feels contracting or expansive. That for me, I've had a lot of anticipation and excitement about this entire month. And about, you know, experiencing 2 eclipses in this month and being in Libra energy. I'm a Libra myself. My birthday is less than a week now. I love October. I love this time of year, but the energies that have been brewing have felt very significant for me personally, and I've felt for myself, which I'm part of the collective just like you are, and so I know that we're all going through similar energies, and that may be coming out in different ways in our life. Okay, is what I'm saying. But for myself, feeling like a breakthrough energy, like a really, really fantastic springboard energy, knowing that there may be things that were uncomfortable or you know, big, that I would have to deal with, or that might come up, that, you know, would kind of be part of that kind of transition change energy. But I welcome that. I am the type of person who would rather just like kind of rip the band-aid off and get that over so we can start healing. Sorry, those are my dogs. But guys, quit. Hey, they're playing. they're playing. They're not really, they're not fighting or anything. They're playing. Um, but as far as, like I said, ripping that Band-Aid off, like I would rather just, um, you know, take care of that necessary temporary pain or discomfort to get on the other side of that so that I can move forward. That's how I am. Now that sometimes that's easier said than done, right? If you're not literally just tearing off a Band-Aid, it's, it has to do with, past issues or trauma or lessons or things that you've carried with you for a long time. Maybe it's a lot harder to just go, oh, I'm just gonna get through this, next chapter. So I understand kid gloves, sometimes I do understand that, but the concept to me is really like, why would we hold ourselves back? Why would we delay what is on the other side of that? The healed energy, the joy, the excitement of the new things coming in. Why would we delay that by basically torturing ourselves through that transitionary phase? I don't really want to do that to myself, although I know I have done that, maybe, not with a Band-Aid, but, on all the other life aspects that I've done that before, one way or the other. I'm sure we're all kind of guilty of that, right? But by and large, I am more than ready and willing to embrace change and growth, right? It's not like I'm just, well, this is different. Sometimes just different is what you need, but I'm always like bigger and better, bigger and better than I can even imagine. And that's where I'm going in life, and I wish that for you as well. So I am kind of curious as to what you all have been going through, if you've been feeling similar energies in your life, or kind of witnessing that in other people's spheres. Of course, we see it in the world as well, across the globe, in many parts of the globe. And, we do have a planetary energy, we have a cosmic energy, and we are all part of that. We make up the cosmic energy. And so just in the connection that we have on our planet, when we are going through things in our own personal life, we might see it kind of exaggerated and expanded, in countries or groups of people or in other people's lives. But we are, I'm saying this as almost like a comfort or a consolation, is that we are all going through these growing pains. We are all changing, and change is hard sometimes, but it is necessary and it is beautiful. And for all of us that are kind of aiming for the stars and that are really open to our highest good, then that's where we're going. That's where we're doing all of this. So I hope that that is a reassurance for you when it feels like things are really falling apart, or things are really difficult or hard or scary, or any of that. So the full moon eclipse that we're going to be having on the 28th is in Taurus. And so we have the sun still, well, the sun will be in Scorpio. With Western astrology, the sun will still be in Virgo with Vedic astrology. But with Western astrology calculations, the full moon will be in Taurus, which is governed by Venus. And so we had a Libra new moon, and we will have a Taurus full moon. And so double whammy Venus energy there. So if you're seeing themes of love and relationships, if you're seeing transitions and changes within your career, your relationship with money, if you're also seeing or feeling the desire to clean house, and to kind of get rid of clutter or make your home more comforting and cozy and aesthetically pleasing. All of those things are very normal and are associated with the energies that we have been experiencing. I went to Barnes and Noble today, and I picked up a box set of Marie Kondo's books. I mean, I've read a lot of like articles and things like that with that the concept of surrounding yourself and your environment, your home, with things that truly bring you joy, that you love, that of course have purpose, and feeling okay about letting go of the rest. And I do try to apply that in my life, but it's almost like if you don't keep up with it or you get busy doing other things, how easy it is for things to accumulate, right? And so there was a two-book set that was the original book, and then there was kind of like a manual and a guidebook that gave a lot of tips and ideas, and I felt really inspired to pick that up today, so I did. I picked up a couple of other things as well. It's fun to browse around in a big bookstore and just kind of get lost in all of that. And so that's what I'm going to be digging into this evening when I get done with the live. Just, it's getting cold out. We just want to do the cozy things, right? And so I'm kind of excited to start reading those more in depth. And of course, I'll be sharing, some information with you all in future lives of kind of how I've interpreted that and ways to apply that in your life. And, this isn't like a home organization energy update, right? But when we talk about things that take up, I'm petting my dog right now. That's why my hand is doing this. He's got his little head in my lap. But when we talk about our space and our like physical things, and then we think of the energy that is associated with those things, whether they are memories, nostalgic type memories. There could be negative energies that could be something that you receive from someone that you no longer interact with or talk to, or have some negative association with. It could be things that are broken, or that were broken and you held on to them just in case. But when you start thinking of the energetics of all of that, and how not only is there oftentimes energy that is attached to or infused in a physical item, but then also like the psychic, energetic, emotional energy that is attached to those things, it gets pretty full, right? Your energetic realm gets very, very full. And so, when we're smudging our house and we're removing old energies, it can be bad energies, but it can also just be old, stagnant energies that are outgrown, that no longer serve us. It's that is one thing to smudge, or to use a bell to clear the space, or a stick of incense or a white candle with intention to clear out that old energy. I'm not saying that that doesn't work, but it's not going to be as effective or long lasting if you have a bunch of clutter, if you have a bunch of physical old things, or things that are just taking up space that don't really serve a purpose. So at least straightening clutter, or feeling like you can let go of some things, will help also shift that energy to where your home feels more like a sanctuary. Your home feels like a place that is holding, the good supportive energy and fantastic memories, instead of it's just got a bunch of stuff that feels overwhelming and that ends up clogging up the pipeline for the other really awesome things to come in. Okay, so we do have a question here, and the question is, when does progression not stop? Will we ever be satisfied? Change could have happened and we keep going. Why do we lose sight of how we already achieved what was desired? Okay, so I'm going to answer that, and just kind of let me know if I'm understanding kind of your question and statement correctly. But I do talk about evolution and growth and change a lot, and because I feel that as humans, or souls having a human experience, that change and growth are absolutely inevitable. That we are not stationary. We are literally not solid and stationary now. Even though I'm not like moving out of my chair, I'm vibrating particles of energy, and so are you, and so is everything else around us, right? So nothing is really ever stationary 100%. And growth and change is not necessarily saying everything is bad now, and so I'm just going to be aiming for the pie in the sky out in the future. It's actually really shouldn't be that. Because being anchored in the moment and fully experiencing whatever life is how you fully understand and experience life and all the things in it. And I think that what a lot of people do for various reasons. If I need to clarify, I can, but there are so many reasons or causes. But what a lot of people do is that they're still experiencing or living in the moment. I mean, that's where they are. That's what's now. That's what's reality. But their focus, their concentration of energy is actually not fully present. And so you're kind of just sometimes like barely scratching the surface as far as what you're taking in, what you're learning, what you're experiencing in that moment, because your mind may be focused on the past. Why did this happen, or maybe I should have done something differently, or that those were the good times, or whatever it is. Or energy is kind of reaching towards the future, just focus like, well, things will be better if XYZ happens, but I'm not happy where I'm at now, or whatever it is. But or your brain is just having all these thoughts and doing all these things, or you might be physically busy as well. But usually when you're physically busy and really focused on the task at hand, you're actually really present. I think that's why like Zen Buddhists, like monks, like just like rake patterns into sand, and that's a meditation and it's work at the same time. But as like chop wood, carry water, right? The mindfulness for sure. But so if our thoughts and our feelings and emotions are scattered to the winds, then our energy is also, some of our essence and energy is doing that as well. And so what our essence, our wholeness that can, what it can experience in the present moment is just kind of limited, because not all of us is experiencing it. Other parts of us are other places. And of course, there are some people who are like trying to escape reality, whether it's like, distractions, addictions, avoidance, all of that kind of stuff too. So, I'm not saying that change is better than what you have in the present moment at all. But what I'm saying is that I feel that growth and change, evolution, energy morphing from one form into another version is inevitable. That's just how it works. And so when I speak of change and growth, unless a plant dies, unless a tree literally dies, it's going to continue to grow, and it's going to shed branches that have died, but then it's going to put new growth out as well. And it may grow all kinds of different ways depending on the conditions, the water, the sun, the wind, the temperature, all of those things, the environment. But it's gonna grow. We grow. I just got my hair trimmed. So just in the most natural way of looking at it, it's inevitable, and it's beautiful to be a part of that, because that's one thing that Earth offers, is that experience of what change is, and we're living it all the time. Every time we breathe in, we're breathing in a combination of different gases, and hopefully enough oxygen to where we feel nice and oxygenated and clear. But then that changes and alchemizes and gathers waste and all of that, and then we put out carbon dioxide, right? We are alchemists just with our breath. So change is always there. So, but the essential part, that when we're talking about, change or inviting in new energy, it's like it's happening already. It's already in motion. And so to fight that, or to say, I don't want to move, or you dig your heels in, or I want to be somewhere else, or whatever it is like pushing a rock uphill in a really, really big, heavy boulder. It's going against the flow of how it all is. And we know that things can be cyclical too. We see it in the seasons, we see it in the planets, all the things. So it's all of these different energies that are in motions. But even as Earth is traveling through space, it is not just going, there's a beautiful spiral where it's just kind of like digging its way in or out, through space, but that's just how all energy works. And so, being appreciative and being very present and grateful in your present moment is where we always, I think, ideally thrive. Sorry, there's somebody pulling in their truck across the street. Hey, Finn. Hey, Finn. Hey, buddy. Come on, it's okay. Finn's a Great Pyrenees, and Finn is always very sure that I am safe. I'm safe and well from the male person and any vehicles or other dogs walking by. So anyway, sorry about that. But I think that what I was saying was that Finn, that being present in the moment is essential, and that change is inevitable. And so when we are grateful for what we have, and if we just say, I'm so grateful, and we have any kind of inkling that we want to have a different experience than what we're having, better or more fun or more expansive or more abundant or whatever it is. I mean, you can just be like, I'm so good, I'm so good, right? And that's fine. But if we do want to make any changes or adaptations, then we have to change our present energy to then attract other experiences, other life paths, timelines, all of that stuff, people that vibe with that. So it's always in flux, for sure. And so let's see. Okay, so hopefully I answered that. There's another comment, someone being on the cusp of Aquarius. One thing to also take note of is if you are on a cusp, if you know your exact birth time where you were born, it's very precise calculation with astrology. Now, there are so many different kinds of astrology, though. So, we have Western astrology, tropical astrology, we have sidereal astrology or Vedic astrology, and then we have all of these. Sorry. Hey, Finn, come here. I'm gonna toss a book, not at him, but just to get his attention. Hey, come on. Okay, that worked for a second. There are all these kind of like other versions of those astrological symbols, and then plus there's like Babylonian astrology, and there's Chinese astrology, and all the things. So it's all about calculation. So you do want to start with exact time and location to get very accurate calculations on your astrology information. And then I'm assuming you're talking about your sun sign, that your sun sign is an Aquarius cusp, so that would be kind of like right in between one sign and the other. So depending on if we're talking about on the front end or the back end, right? But then that more than likely what you're talking about is your sun sign. But then we have our moon, we have our rising sign, which is the sign that was like on the ascendant on the horizon when we were born. We have, of course, houses, and we have planets, and there are so many aspects and so many parts of just astrology that play into who we are and how we feel and how we present ourselves, and we may feel that as we kind of get older and that we are kind of maturing and we've had these certain life experiences, that we kind of grow into our ascendant sign as well, and the chart does progress. You can do like a progressed chart that looks different than your natal chart. It's like where you are now, right? So there are so many variables that play into astrology, and if you really wanted to dig in, you would need to get a very specific chart run and decide what kind of chart astrology system that you would kind of like to look at, and then look into it more. Now, Macy Johnson is an astrologer who offers chart readings in our community space. She's Mood Ring Metaphysical on Instagram. So if you would want to reach out to her, I'm sure she would love to do kind of like an extended chart reading for you, so you could really dig into that too. I would not say that I'm a professional astrologer, but I love astrology, and I have a fairly decent knowledge about astrology, but I learn more every day. And I'm happy to try to answer questions as I can, for sure. And also, even with, like I was talking about, the energies of the eclipses or the moons, and how there can kind of be that light and shadow side, with things that the energies that are coming up, and there's kind of like the good and the bad with that, or the light and the dark. That's with any archetype of an astrology as well. So you might be like, I don't really feel like an Aquarius, but what aspect of Aquarius are you really thinking about? Is that is it like more of the the mental activity, that thought energy, or are you thinking about like something else? Because there are always the light and shadow, or different aspects that kind of balance each other out with each zodiac sign too. And that's just the sun sign, right? So the your question about how do you self-reflect in the stuck and constant moment to grow. Self-reflection, I mean, I would just honestly, if you're trying to really do any kind of mental inventory, emotional inventory, you're trying to get your bearings, as to like where you are and where you might kind of want to do some adjustments in your energy to kind of have a different experience coming to you from the future, in the future that you'll be moving into, is that you can set aside time for journaling. You can do automatic writing, tuning into your higher self. Of course, meditation, which, yoga can also be meditation. You can set your intention before you do a yoga flow. There are so many ways to set intention and, say, this is what I'm wanting to focus on. And for that time that you are doing that, that is what you are experiencing, right? And you're kind of calling in these maybe helpful energies to assist you in that, like your higher self or source or ancestors or your body, all the things. If you're feeling stuck, in your present reality, there is obviously friction or resistance somewhere. And you may say, well, it's my outside environment. It's it's someone or something or a situation that I can't move forward. I can't move through. I'm stuck. I'm powerless. And I'm not disregarding that or saying that that's invalid. But honestly, yeah, pretty much everything outside of us, we don't really have any control over, like true control over, but we are in charge of ourselves. And so if you're feeling stuck, then do something within yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, that is a different feeling than stuck. It could be moving your body. It could be being just lightly productive, straightening up a little bit of clutter. It could be doing a journaling or brainstorming kind of exercise to kind of sort through situation or emotions or whatever it is. But see, you're not stuck then. You're actually doing something. You're not stationary. You're not stagnant. You are doing something. And I feel that a lot of times when we feel stuck, and again, I'm not trying to invalidate how anyone feels. I'm just kind of sharing my thoughts and feelings on this and personal experience as well. But when we feel stuck and powerless, a lot of the times it feels like, we are not autonomous, or we do not have the power, the influence over our own lives, right? Then that is really truly our responsibility to make some adjustments, and they can be very, very minute, that actually translate into our life to have very, very big, impactful waves. It doesn't mean like you have to just like throw everything away, or completely redo yourself. It could just be a little adjustment, then lets the energy flow. Think of energy as water. Think of energy as light. Think of it as it's flowing. And so if it feels like there's a block and it's not flowing, then do something just to kind of, gracefully encourage it along. And then it kind of, the flow gets a little stronger, and then you can get swept up in that in a very good way too. So I hope that maybe some of that is helpful. Definitely wherever you're at and however you're feeling, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling negative, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling, anything that would kind of be on that more shadow end of the spectrum, like, you can acknowledge how you feel. You can say, I am feeling this way right now, but sit with that. Sit with that. Give yourself a timer. Sit with it for 2 minutes, sit with it for 5 minutes, and just feel what it really feels like to feel stuck, or to feel, afraid, or whatever it is. I mean, I wouldn't want to set a timer for 5 minutes on being afraid, but, feel it. Set a timer, or give yourself a little bit to really acknowledge and accept how you feel, and then breathe with that. Take literally 10 breaths, embodying that feeling that you've identified, and then ask yourself after those 10 breaths, how do I feel now? What am I feeling? And more than likely, there's going to be even a slight shift in what you feel. From fear, it could be disappointment. It could be just sadness. It could be boredom. It could be anything. I mean, pick an emotion, right? But, and then you can sit with that. This is how I feel. I'm accepting it, and it's like we can witness and experience that change and that flow just in a few minutes, and just focusing on our breath and really sitting with those feelings as well. Because like I said, we're always in flux. We're always changing. And sometimes I guess we can go backwards, right? But that's not where I want to go. So, anyway, good talk, and good things to talk about. We are still in sun energy of Libra right now. I always see Libra as being a leveling out, a balancing energy, an energy that really wants to be balanced and harmonious. And so if you're experiencing something that is different than harmony and balance right now, or things are really feeling kind of out of whack or chaotic, then the Libra energy is really just encouraging, kind of like bringing into your awareness of how good that could feel to have that alignment and that balance. And sometimes things get really topsy-turvy before we balance again, because it's an energy that was throwing everything off or weighing you down, and that needs to be cleared so that you can then regain that state of harmony. Because I really feel like, all in all, that's what we're seeking, as humans, as beings, as an inhabitant of Earth and of the cosmos, is that even if things are like the most wildly amazing, heart-soaring, whatever, I mean, that's great, right? But it's not like we have to bring ourselves down to be harmonious, but we do also want to kind of temper that with being grounded and being anchored. And that means fully experiencing those things in the moment, not letting our head and heart just get totally carried away like forever and ever, because then our energy actually isn't even fully experiencing it. We're just running on fumes. So it is always a balancing act, and you don't have to be a Libra to realize that, right? But I think that we're always seeking that equilibrium and that balance, and things cross our path, and we experience things or learn things or discover things or whatever that will totally make the seesaw just go nuts for a little bit. But then eventually it will, we'll get back in motion. Like, remember when you were a kid, or maybe now, even as an adult. So if you're swinging on like a swing set, okay, and it's not a little one, it's kind of like a big one, all right? So the swing can really, really get going. And let's say you like kicked your foot funny, or you kind of like moved the center, gravity, or you kind of caught caught your arm, you kind of grab something real quick, then all of a sudden that smooth big swing will just get like all wonky, out of whack, and it's scary and it's kind of fun maybe, or think you're gonna fall, or I'm gonna hit something, I'm gonna swing into something, right? But then eventually, once there's kind of that turbulence, the swing keeps going. Might slow down a little bit, but then it gets back into that flow, because that's just, it's gravity, that's inertia, but I mean, that's just how it goes. And like, that's how life is. So, so Shannon says, your Jupiter is in Libra. Well, we know Jupiter is the planet of luck. That must be why you're so lucky and pretty. I have Libra in a lot of placements in my chart, more with Vedic astrology, but with Western astrology, I've got a lot of Scorpio, because I am a cusp baby as well. I was born in the morning. If I had been born in the afternoon with tropical calculations, I would have been a Scorpio sun, but I'm a Libra sun still. So, gosh, the dogs. It's like kids. They're just like children. You're busy, you're right in the middle of something, and then that's when they just want to act out. It's great. It's super great. Yeah. So happy Libra season and eclipse season. We are more than halfway through those energies. Of course, we are building up to Samhain, to Halloween. You very well may be feeling the veil thinning. You may be nostalgic, remembering those that have left this earthly plane. You might be getting, some activity, around your home or where you work or something like that. All very normal, because Samhain is the kind of wrapping up. It's the harvests are done, and we are kind of preparing for the winter, and all of the things that winter brings of less activity, in the physical sense, maybe, we're not planting things, we're not growing things, we're not harvesting things, we're just kind of like using what we have, the fruits of our labor. And of course, agriculturally speaking, there's that, information, but think of all how that in metaphor, and how that can be representative of the energies in our life. So to me, Samhain is the time between like Samhain, Halloween, and Yule, which is the winter solstice. It is the rebirth of the sun. That to me feels like a time of limbo, or of just like almost limbo, just kind of waiting and stuff. It doesn't feel to me like the energy is just like, okay, harvest is done, there we go, and then la la la, here we go, birth of the sun, we're ready to go. Like there's much more of a kind of a slow flow of energy that we might really want to sit with during that time. And of course, with the holidays, we have Halloween, which a lot of people are like, party, 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 which, I mean, I love Halloween. I love all the fun things associated with it, but it's actually a very, it can be a somber time. It's a time of, honoring those who have passed on. It's, kind of really looking at our own humanity, and knowing that there's just this membrane of energy that is really keeping us like in the physical versus the ethereal. And so, which can be pretty mind-blowing sometimes, right? So, although, like I said, just, people have fun on Halloween, it's kind of like really stemming from wanting to have that jovial energy, because we kind of know that there's kind of some serious energy around it that we're kind of walking into as well. And so don't feel like there's something wrong with you. Finn, come on. Don't feel like there's something wrong with you if you're feeling more introspective, and you're wanting to be more still, and you're wanting to be more it's just a quarter, and it just landed next to him. It's like he's so easily distracted. So if you're feeling more like wanting to stay quiet, introspective, still, not go out, not party, whatever, like that's very normal for the energies that are going on. Yet we have Halloween, and then we have Thanksgiving, and then we have Christmas, and all the things that we're doing and running around. And that's why people get so freaking stressed in the holidays, is because you're doing all the extroverted things when really you just want to be an introvert, hibernating. And so honor where you're at, honor what you feel, and be like, experience this sacred time as it is for us, instead of having to do all the things and the hubbub of shopping and the holidays and just travel and all the things. I mean, do what you need to do to stay connected and have those joys with your family, your friends. I'm not saying not to do that, but if you're feeling that it is in conflict with yourself or what you really feel works for you, like, honor that. Give yourself that time, to decompress and to hibernate and all of those things as well. So I appreciate you all spending some time with me tonight. I'm going to do pull one or two of these little oracle cards, the Be All cards, for you to close tonight. We will talk about more magical, energetic things next Wednesday, next week. We have several things happening at the store the last week of October. So let me just pull a little guidance for you. What jumped out was be inventive. Be inventive, explore out of the box thinking to invent and create a new life. I feel that this is supportive for what we were talking about. And I think that if anyone is kind of having issues with change, or you're like, I don't want to change, I've been through enough change or upheaval in my life, or, anything like that, that just know that energy is always changing and we're always changing. And it's that is just part of this human experience. And when we say creating new in our life, if you took a breath in, you're like, that was some good oxygen, and you hold on to it, well, eventually your lungs are going to absorb as much oxygen and put it in your blood as it can, and then you kind of need to let the carbon dioxide out, and then you're going to have to breathe in some more air. You can't just take in that breath and then you're good for the rest of your day, let alone your life. So that ebb and flow is just part of it, for sure. Let's pull one more card. And be courageous. Be courageous. And be courageous says divine light is within the darkness despite what your eyes see. And I love this because this resonates with eclipse energy, right? If you're wanting to get more information about kind of specifically like how eclipses affect us, I've talked about that last week, the week before too. So you can always watch those replays, or at least one of those is on my YouTube channel at Enter Perfect. But I know that it can be frightening and scary to be in the dark, to be in the shadow, right? To feel like you maybe can't see what's going on. But I fully believe that it is a very worthwhile experience to have that time in the dark, in the shadow. And I don't mean evil, I mean, it could be bad, but I don't mean that. I just mean literally dark shadow, or figuratively light shadow or dark shadow. But when we understand the aspect of like what our shadow is, or that primal side, or underneath the surface, the unconscious, the subconscious, all of that, when we do have some sort of familiarity with that, and really the power and essence that is in that energy as well, is actually yin energy, is divine feminine energy too, as the dark, that we do ourselves embody light and dark. So as we're standing in that darkness, we do have that light within us. And then we can take that knowledge and that experience. And then if we say, okay, I want to go to the light, I want to experience that light energy, then we not only have comparison, we not only have contrast or the duality, which is a part of earth, is that we take that knowledge, that resonance with us into that end of the spectrum as well. And it's not like we're bringing everybody down, but it's just like we're kind of really more well-rounded. And then we spend the time in the light, we kind of synthesize that information, and then we expand, grow, whatever you want to call it. We evolve. And then if we need to dip back down into the dark, into the shadows, or if there's someone else there, we take our light with us, and we have better navigation skills with that. And it is emerging back and forth, and we do that several times in our life, and we see other people do that as well. And it's just kind of, getting your tool belt nice and balanced with all of these different skills and ways to see things and perspectives and all of that. And I don't believe that life is about paying off karmic debt. I don't believe that life is about you were really awful in one life, and so you've got to pay your dues in this lifetime or anything like that. I don't think there's actually a punishing energy to it, or like that's really the true meaning of karma. And we've discussed that before in some of our lives. But I believe that life is truly about experience. And so if we do have a life or a time in our life, Finn, that we have challenges, or hurt or something negative or whatever, then that gives us half of the experience, the one end of the spectrum. But then we also, want to have an equal opposite experience to be able to balance that out and, again, get the whole picture. Sometimes that happens one lifetime, then we carry that into this lifetime to kind of get the whole picture. It encompasses two lifetimes or a couple lifetimes or whatever it is. But then we also can experience that full spectrum, pulling all the pieces from the spectrum together in one lifetime and in several experiences in that lifetime. And so I believe life is really about experience. It's not like when we say, I want something better, or I want more positivity or whatever. That's just saying what part of the spectrum, where on the map we're wanting to kind of, say, I want to go here next. That's really what we're saying. That's what I'm saying, at least. It's not saying that it sucks where you are or where you've been and that there has to be something that has to be better. Sometimes that's the reality, but I'm not saying that it's bad versus good, but it's different. And that's really what it's about. It's having different experiences so that when you leave this earthly plane, you've had a full human experience. You have had the things for comparison and contrast, and you have experienced the depths, but you've also soared to the peaks and to the heights, and that's a wide range of experience, right? And I feel that that's really what we've come here to do. So when you're healing through past hurts, through trauma, through anything that you feel is either keeping you stuck or bringing you down or holding you down or blocking your abundance or anything like that, know that that we can sit with gratitude for that experience because, well, we've got that part of the experience, the understanding of that already done, already taken care of. And then when we set our intention to align with our higher good, our higher path of more positive energy, it's just we're looking for the other half. We're looking for the other part of that to complete the picture. If you have a picture, I'm like analogy lady tonight. If you have a picture that's like grayscale, but like there's really not a lot of contrast, it's like really hard to even see what it is. You adjust that contrast to where it's more like black and white. You're like, the picture is clear now. It's crystallized into, I see what this is. I know what this is, right? And then life is not like a picture on a computer screen or something on a piece of paper. It's like all the dimensions. So you're really here for the full experience. So I hope that you enjoy the journey.